I started an apprenticeship in 1991 and became a primary midwife in 1993. It was a 2-year apprenticeship. And I've attended, since that time, at this point, it's over 600 births. So with lots of variety involved. Actually, after 600, you always get lots of variety.
My mom says I was born at about 10 months, and I was her second pregnancy. So I don't know if it's genetic or if it's synchronistic or what, but we had the same experience.
The biggest thing is people should not go into default and just say, well, the doctor says this, the doctor says that, and just go along with it, which they might be 100% right, or maybe they might be 75% right. But you got to challenge things. You got to do your own homework and come to your own conclusions.
The principle that I live and die on is making informed choices. And the problem is that women are not being given the information they need. They are being given insufficient information, no information, or misinformation in the vast majority of cases.
And we were using the same midwife for this next baby we're expecting at the end of June. That's right, Sam.
I'm Ruthie Dickin, and I have a daughter who's 6. She was born via cesarean, and I had a VBAC 2 years later, and then I had another VBAC with him, and I'm a co-leader of ICANN of St. Louis, which is the International Cesarean Awareness Network. We have a lot of moms who contact us who have traumatic vaginal births too. Just getting the baby out vaginally is not always, the end-all be-all as well. And I've known moms who've had 4th-degree tears, episiotomies, and they feel really traumatized by their birth. And so, I feel that groups like FOM and I can really get birth, and that's really important in our culture to carry that message.
I will support any decision a woman makes. I think I can live by that principle honestly, even if it's not the choice that I make, whether it would be an elective primary cesarean or an unattended home birth, that if she has made it with a clear understanding of what her options are, and in her opinion and for her family, she feels like this is her best option. Are you getting feelings or information? Because if someone's trying to manipulate you, you're almost always going to be getting feelings. So they're going to be trying to ridicule what you have expressed, or they'll try and bully you, or they'll try and scare you, but you'll have feelings and no information. And that's the time to run, not walk for the door.
People are huge varieties. What do you want for your birth? Some people want a midwife who's very much a nurse midwife and wants that interventions. Other people want somebody who is going to simply just sit and be quiet, and they're going to do the birth, and she's only going to step in with a complication. Other people would like to have a midwife who's going to be more involved than that, someplace in between there. Some will require that, will want, not necessarily require, will want that their midwife has knowledge of herbs and homeopathics or other alternative cares. But I guess one of the most important things that you want to have, if you're a birthing family and you're looking for somebody to attend your birth, is that you're going to work well with that midwife. For me as a midwife, what I'm looking for in prospective clients is, does this family know how to work together? Are we a cooperative that will blend together? Because life is basically a cooperation. We give and we take. That's how we work with each other. So is this family that type of family? Do they work well with me? And they want to know, will I work well with them and what their goal is?
We talk to our chiropractor, talk to all kinds of people, and just try to educate ourselves as much as possible and try to figure out what did we want for our child's birth. What did we want best for Angie and the baby and all this? And it just led us to the midwife, and it was astonishing. Everything, when we sat down and talked to her, everything that we were searching for or were looking for in a birth, she was in complete alignment with that. So it was a natural step from that point.
The core basis of midwifery care is informed consent, that the mother has access to the information she needs to be a part of the shared decision making, and the midwife respects that and is willing to provide that information and even find more information if needed.
It was only until the beginning of the 2000s that we had a clear understanding that definitely midwifery was illegal. I guess we were a little in dreamland thinking that we were legal over there. Now with having a CPM, quite literally, it feels like a weight's off my shoulder, because not only can I advertise, I can speak freely, I can walk into a hospital and say who I am, I can present my card and credential and feel that I'm not going to get prosecuted or escorted out by a police escort or arrested in some particular way because I'm transporting in a mother who's in need of their care. That makes everything a lot easier. Being able to present the facts of the mother's birth makes it a lot easier. It's easier on the families. Besides myself, I have to look at the better care that they're going to be able to get. The doctors themselves should be able to appreciate that they're going to get more information about this person that they're going to need to take care of. So I would hopefully think that they would see that as a benefit for them, instead of having somebody just laid on their doorstep. Here's this woman in labor. Oh my goodness, what's happening? Instead, we can present all this information to them. So hopefully that would also work out, that we'd have better relationships with hospitals and doctors. I'm not naive to think that we're going to have great relationships, but there'll be some doctors who will be willing to work with us, and even those who aren't happy about home births or midwives can still, hopefully see the benefit. And I know that my mothers and families that I work with, that they will have benefits from that, because they will be cared for in a better way when we transport, because all the information will be there for them.
In our CPM program, we have established the necessary knowledge and skills, and we have set up ways that you demonstrate that. We have requirements for education. We have requirements for a supervised clinical practicum. So you must demonstrate that you gain the knowledge. We do have a variety of ways that you can demonstrate gaining the knowledge, and then you must demonstrate that you can apply that knowledge in a clinical situation by working under an experienced midwife for a period of time until you've met all the clinical requirements. Then you have to take the exams. We have a hands-on skills exam, and we have a written exam that's an all-day, 8-hour examination, and that's the final step in the certification process. Once you're certified, then you are a CPM, and you can use that credential to apply for a license in the states that have a licensure program for direct entry midwives.
Certainly the environment in which they give birth will influence what happens physically and emotionally and hormonally. But birthing from within starts with the premise that the inner life of the mother and the father are as relevant as learning how to negotiate in this medical model.
There's Coach Ruthie again. Ready to go swimming? Okay, let's head back to the locker room. Oh yeah, my glasses are fogging up, see? Let's go put your suit on. Yeah?
Steady friend, steadily sail
Michelle's fine.
to
doing this class about 20 some years ago, and I love yoga and thought the principles of yoga are really conducive to helping women give birth, because in yoga we're holding a posture, we're breathing through it, we're releasing and letting go, and allowing we're allowing our minds to sink down into the breath, and that keeps us present and helps women take off the layer of fear and dialogue around what's going on, and allows them to be present, be with their bodies and their breath. I also created this class because I've done a lot of work in prenatal psychology and prenatal development, and because the mother and the baby are connected through their biology and through their nervous systems, for me, this is the greatest gift I can give to humanity, and especially to mothers and babies, is carving out, giving them time and space to be present, to be still, to relax, to get out of the, rush and stress.
The council is an advocacy group for the neighborhood. It's funded by the CDA, the City of St. Louis, some of the major businesses around the area, some institutions such as WashU fund it. Then along with the residents itself, we have a Friends campaign, which Andy helps heads that up as well. Just private donations as well. And we get involved in things like Blitz Day. Right now I'm helping to clean this up because I want a nice neighborhood to live in. I want a place for my daughter to grow up that's comfortable and safe and clean. There's a lot of people that came before me to create all this, and I would like at the very least to maintain everything.
You wanna go out? Good night, baby. I usually wake up at 4:20 and I'm out the door by 4:45. That way when I come home I have some Angie time before anybody in the household wakes up and needs me or wants me, or this really helps fill me back up. Being at the gym, exercising, it's just time that I have with myself. Roughly 1 month before birthing Olive, Sean helped every night. We'd spend like 10 minutes, and he would help stretch the perineum skin. They call it perineum massage. It's more like stretching it. And it's just helping to train that skin to expand. And I'm not doing a Kegel when he's stretching that, but he'll just use lubrication. And it's not anything that turns me on. It's just an exercise as far as I'm concerned. And it was funny because he would joke, because we were planning a home birth, he would joke that he was a 1%er. Like he would identify himself as a statistic, because I think it's only like 1 or 2% of people in the United States plan home births assisted by a midwife. And so when he's doing the perineum massage, he will say, just a 1%er, I'm a 1%er. Because of that 1%, imagine, well, I'm not suggesting that only people who plan home births are doing the perineum massage, but it was so funny, and it would make me laugh when, he's like, yet again, I'm a 1%er. But his thought was, if I could do something to help my wife, or to prevent her from tearing, from going through, yet another, or more soreness or pain, and then he was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And I think, frankly, he
that was his approach to all the childbirth education during both pregnancies, and just his overall theme of his support is, you know, he might be outside the labyrinth, but he can certainly, if there's something he can do to help alleviate any ickiness, any pain, any soreness, he's going to be there. How liberating for me to know that he's my partner in all this, you know. And I'm sure I know I don't have to speak for other people, but I'm sure other men would be open to it too. They just don't know. I think there's something about planning a home birth that I just feel like you get a lot closer to your preparations and the planning and all the things that could go right or go wrong, because there's so much unknown. It is a natural process, but we just naturally want to know what to anticipate. And so I can only hope that this, you know, this process, this rite of passage is only strengthening our marriage, our partnership.
There are certain things I like to teach fathers that will help him help the mother in labor, but it's most helpful that she isn't privy to that conversation, that she simply experiences the nectar of it when it's coming from him. So in a way, fathers need to be initiated. One of the great tragedies, really, in our culture is that some 40 years ago, when fathers were brought into the birth to help the mothers, that they became mother's little helper in labor, you know, someone to help her be comfortable, but no one really addressed what's it like for him. What's he need to do for himself? What are his rites of passage? What are his markers in labor? How does he come home from that experience?
The people who are attracted to buying healthy, wholesome food this way are seekers. They want to figure out what's best, you know, and share it with others.
Oh, look, these are ours. Banana chips, rolled oats. Yeah, see, all this stuff is already marked. Cranberries, quinoa. Buying it in bulk, whether I'm splitting it or buying 5 pounds of it myself, is a huge savings. This is, for example, the sunflower seeds were, after the discount, about $2.50 per pound, which is pretty good for organic and raw. And I use the sunflower seeds in all kinds of things, salads and homemade granola and, gosh, just about everything.
Just trying to plan it. One of our fellow gardeners was just talking about it. Liberty Gardens are great. I mean, there's no reason why people can't grow their own produce. It doesn't take much space. It's amazing how much you can grow in such a small spot. So
I bought this.
We really have enjoyed this, and there's nothing better than coming home from work and coming over here and picking a couple things out of the garden and make a salad or adding something to a meal. It's pretty rewarding. It's pretty fun. Olive really likes it. She has, I don't see any of her friends here today, but usually she has a tribe of about 5 or 6 little girls, and they all just run around together and dig up things. Completely enjoy it. But again, it's a great way to meet neighbors. I've met a ton of people this way. Yeah, check back with us later. It's going to be, it'll be a lot more interesting in about 2 months or so.
Dancing for Birth classes are not geared toward any specific type of birth. They're for whatever kind of birth the woman herself wants to have. They work wonderfully at a home birth, a natural birth with midwives, where a woman can just be very unrestricted and intuitive and move around her space freely. But she can also take those techniques into the hospital. and follow her own instincts in the hospital with a supportive staff. One of the things that is very exciting are the techniques that women learn used to help reposition a malpositioned baby, or when they get to a point in labor where sometimes they're told that labor's not progressing, and they have the tools to work through that and help their baby turn and help their labor progress.
Why don't we warm up by writing our name in cursive with our hips. So I've got a long name.
That was a tight name.
Moms get really excited when they learn how to use their hips and their pelvis and be very womanly and just allow those movements to naturally come, especially hip circles. They're wonderful in birth to help the baby descend and rotate and move down to be born. It's also very freeing. Women discover that they're very strong and they're very powerful and very primal, and they may not have known that they had that in them, but they become very in touch with their inner wisdom.
I dilated to 10 centimeters pretty fast, between the hours of 10 p.m. and 4 a.m., about 6 hours. Actually, when our midwife arrived and she checked me around 2:30 a.m., I was 7 centimeters. The original due date was end of July, I think July 23rd or something.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. And then in utero, or during gestation, it was clear that that was wrong. And we were further along, so we gained a month. Mm-hmm. So his due date that we've been working off of for, I don't know, several months was June 26. Actually, 6 months we worked off that due date. Mm-hmm. And that seemed to be in alignment.
It did.
He was born on August 2nd, which puts him at 44 weeks. So we have some other indicators that he was 4 weeks post-date. And those indicators were the creases in his hands and his feet were really deep.
The placenta was aged as well.
The placenta was aged, and his size. He was 11 pounds, 13 ounces. So combining all those things, we're confirmed that he was definitely post-date. Mm-hmm. Most care providers would not let you do that, but we did not have an ultrasound.
Well, at least not until the day of the birth, but that's another story.
That's another story.
Olive, we're gonna go to Earth Day. We're gonna go, it's a big party for the Earth. You know how you go to birthday parties and different things like that? We're gonna go celebrate the Earth today. And so everybody can pay attention to the Earth and what's going on and what we're doing to change the Earth and what we can do to help protect it.
We're gonna walk.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna take a long walk. We're gonna go to the park.
It is flame without smoke. It burns without fuel, save what is not visible to the eyes. It's perpetual, altar fire. It dwells in the heart of love. It burns in the mouth of the wise. It's eternal life. As we live in the great light, we see more and more clearly the meaning of life, and we learn to live more worthily. It is eternal life. It is eternal light that is flame save what is not visible to the eyes.
So when I told my family physician that I'm planning to submit my birth bill to insurance, she said, well, that would be no different than any of my other clients. I'm billing insurance for your prenatal, and the OB that they're transferred to are billing for the birth. So it's really no difference, but we'll see.
I like it. 118 over 64. Okay.
I borrowed a
glucose monitor? Okay.
And for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, for 3.5 days, almost 4 days, I tracked it. And so I brought those results to share with you.
Okay, and were these fasting sugars or 2 hours after eating sugars?
They are, the ones that say upon rising are fasting. Okay. So the first one's in the morning. Do these look okay to you?
Fine. No, they're
all right.
Fine. Yeah, that's good. Doing fasting, so we've got, so your lowest on rising is 100? It looks like, yeah. Okay.
What's normal for pregnancy as far as blood sugar levels?
Okay, we want to be less than 140.
Okay.
It's just easier just to say, go to the lab and they'll give you the load.
Right, right. I don't know, like it just totally grossed me out thinking about
having to take all that.
Yeah.
Okay, it's okay. It's okay. But see, most people are not going to go to the trouble of doing all this, right?
Right.
It wasn't trouble, you see.
Well, see, I don't see, but I found this actually interesting because I feel like I'm tracking my own blood sugar. I feel like I'm doing it for myself.
Right.
I'm
right. So yeah, no,
taking charge of it, I guess. But
it's fine.
Anyhow.
That's the baby right there. Okay, that's good. Okay, so let me just feel again now.
What was the heart?
It was 150.
You're blushing.
The male sperm are faster.
The male sperm are
faster. Okay. The female sperm are heavier and slower.
Yeah.
Okay. So if there's an egg already released, then the male sperm's going to get the egg first.
Oh.
Right. So if the intercourse is right at the time of ovulation.
I see.
Okay. All right. But let's say you had intercourse and then 3 or 4 days later you ovulated. Okay. Well, the male sperm are dead and gone. They're fast, but they die.
Oh,
but they die quicker.
They die quicker.
The female sperm are slower but last longer.
Oh.
So if that's where it is, they're more likely to have a girl then.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not feeling the head down here. I'm not feeling the head down.
Where is it?
All. Up here.
Yeah.
So we may have, okay, so but there's time for a change around anyway. So there is the science.
So you feel the head up here?
Yeah, I feel the head.
Why would I be feeling so much pressure up here then if it's not the feet?
Well, you see, look, you see there's not.
Is the fundal, did you do the measurement?
No, I didn't do the measurement. Let's do it. Okay, so you're right here. Well, I did the quick and dirty method. So there's your umbilicus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. So.
Am I big?
About 29. No, you're not. That's 29.30. You're right on.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you're right on. There's your, and so you don't feel a lot of feet stuff up here. No.
No, but that's the pressure I feel up there.
Okay, but the head is going to give you pressure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. But there's time for to
right.
around, yeah. So.
Yes, there is.
So do we have a boy or do we not have a boy?
You stay in there, Junebug. You got some work to do.
That's right.
How'd it go?
Well, it went well. Baby is feet down.
Feet down.
Heads
Wow.
up here.
I need to work on that.
Well, I'll see Lori
It's
Berger. I'll see if she. Whatever. I'll be seeing Joanne soon. There's still plenty of time.
He was never any stress or any, you know, when we went in for checkups, we were going about every week or so, even past his whatever, due date, whatever you want to call it. But he, there was no stress or any signs, you know, all his vitals and everything were just fine. So there really wasn't any huge alarm like we have to act right now, so, which was good, but then also there was obviously some stress behind all that because we're getting pretty anxious at that point, so.
So in this model, rather than striving to achieve any particular outcome, which is very unnerving for people, they want to strive for an outcome. They believe that if they hold an intention that they can make it happen, and sometimes it seems like that's true. But in this model, we are striving to create a mindset of, I would like this to happen, and I'm doing what I can to bring this about, but I am going to meet each moment, each unexpected turn, each thing that comes up. I'm going to do the very best I can at each turn. I'm going to do the next best thing. Not what I thought I would want to do, not what I secretly, you know, wished I would do, but I'm going to, so the idea is to create a mindset of doing the next best thing, and then doing the next best thing again, and then doing the next best thing again. And never doing the next best thing with the idea of getting that desired outcome, but only doing the next best thing in this moment, because in this moment that's what's needed. Whether it leads to the outcome we want or not. Just doing what's needed in this moment, nothing extra. Just doing what's needed in this moment, nothing extra. This is a profound state of mind to live in and to labor in.
Okay, this is a butt. Without a doubt. This is a head. And it's really palatable, so it's real easy to find. And at 32 weeks, this is the time when we do lots of things to turn the baby.
It's okay.
It's okay,
Angie, you're not 40 weeks. 32 weeks is where you get to do lots of things. It's okay, because the baby's going to turn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to turn. We're going to just, I want you to feel his head back, okay? I want you to bring your hand to here and over here. And let's just kind of, now he's kind of tightened up in there, but he's right in there.
My water broke. I was tossing and turning for 2 hours, which is pretty not normal, but you know, I'm turning from my left side to my right side, my only two positions in bed. And just before 10 o'clock on August 1st, I went from my left to my right, and I heard I started pushing and pushing and pushing about 2 hours. And my contractions started to be much less frequent. As the sun was coming up, my body was slowing down and things started to stall out. Joanne, my midwife, helped me initiate breastfeeding, of course, but I wanted a long-term investment, like like buying an appliance or something. I wanted some sort of group to go to, people to go to that would help me not only through any of my hurdles, but also just, we'd have that in common, because I don't necessarily see Joanne that much during her growing years.
They have their tiny, tiny, tiny little tummies, and breast milk is very well absorbed because it's designed specifically for babies, and they digest it quickly, and then their tummies are empty, and they need to nurse more to get more milk. And the more we do that with our babies, especially when they're infants, the better chance we have of making sure that we have a supply that meets their needs.
I want to be more flexible because it's just her.
My first baby was really hard and a really tough sleeper, and when you stop breastfeeding, it's one less thing that you have. It's one less tool that you can use as you support your kid as they're growing up.
I
can honestly sit here and say that I would not have nursed her to 2.5 years old without the complete support of my spouse. I mean, he made all the difference.
We have working moms who are separated from their babies for periods of time, and so they pump. So we have experts in pumping, we have experts in not having lactated for a period of time and then relactating, and we've had moms who've come who've had difficulties in establishing their nursing supply, moms who are having problems with latching, and we're here to help them with all of those.
Yeah, we can help all kinds of moms. We've had moms come in who are interested, who have had breast reduction surgery and want to know what they can expect when they have a baby. Moms of multiples want to know if they can do it, if it's possible. And we point them to other moms of multiples who have done it for a year or longer.
There's always the question about disposable versus cloth diapers, whereas elimination communication is a way to potentially not use diapers at all, or to greatly reduce the use of cloth diapers, or reduce the use of disposable diapers. And it really has a big impact on the environment in that the baby is going right in the potty.
Or at home, we have a built-in toilet seat for a little bum, but on both the second and the first floor. But when I'm on the go, I just use this compactable seat.
Like, we started putting her on the potty when she was 5 days old, and my husband did it, and it worked. And I was like, whoa, that worked. So we just, kept doing it, and we had success every day. And then with him, we started just right from birth. Like, he really didn't pee the first day. But after that, I was just really in tune with him.
What Rudolf Steiner had to say about early childhood years was that it was most important for a child at that time to be focusing on their physical development and development of their senses. The children get the chance to be around other children their age. They get to experience a classroom morning that includes free play, story time, baking bread together, sitting and experiencing a meal together with other children. And then the parents get to experience seeing the model of the teacher and the model of other parents that are working to do this at home on their own.
Blessings on the leaves and stems, blessings on their fruit.
They're learning about how to be good to each other, how to be good people. They're learning it through a story that really brings a mental picture to them of what compassion is. So we find those ways to really engage the whole child in the lesson, and that then becomes part of them, and we're reaching children in all different ways.
My specialty in pediatrics is using the Larry Webster in utero turning technique. We hope to have this baby turn within the next 24 to 48 hours. It will be something natural, just as though the baby would turn automatically. Normally a baby is supposed to turn somewhere around the 7th month and be stabilized by the 8th month. We're just running a little shy of that. And since you're pregnant, I do both hands. Otherwise, I would use only one hand often. But I'm comparing your left and right. If the baby turns and they become in transition, or the baby flips down and then comes back, most of the time, if everything is good and your pelvis appears that way, so only time will tell, but if the baby doesn't want to stay in the caudal position, in the head first position, there's usually a reason for it. It's usually the placenta is there, although you do not feel like you're placenta previa or anything like that. We're going to be working with her chiropractor as well as here to make her have the best pregnancy she can have and have the best delivery that she can have.
Just gather up some saliva in your mouth, and you're going to put it on the paper like that. So we'll test your urine pH. No, good. That's good. Okay. So, I don't know whether you can see that. It's down at the 5.5, 5.8 range. So that's very acidic for being right after eating. And we'll check the urine too, and then see what we make of that. That's the primary point in this acupuncture pattern. It's the gallbladder meridian dispersal point. So the gallbladder meridian starts at the corner of the eye, runs thick, zigzags through the side of the head, and then down the side of the body. So it's the meridian that gives you the ability to have some hip sway or not. And if you're too stiff, then the stress comes out in other places. Sometimes when you repertorize a symptom, you come up with maybe 3 possibilities. So one of the remedies that's strongly suggested is nux vomica, but with nux vomica, the person will say that she's very chilly. Hamamelis is one that's worse at night. Nux is not. So that one significant piece could rule out one remedy, even though it's, high in many marks, it just rules it out.
The labyrinth is an ancient symbol which represents the rite of passage, it represents the hero's journey, it represents preparation for an ordeal, and the return from an ordeal. But for pregnant women and in couples, it is a visual and visceral symbol of the journey of the childbearing year, but in particular of labor. So when they look at this meandering, twisting symbol in labor, and they're feeling their twisting and meandering in the inner world in labor, it mirrors their experience. It's more authentic. When childbirth classes often have like a graph that shows dilation over time, and it's a graph that has an arc like this, from 0 to 2 centimeters dilation, 4, 6, 7, 8, 10, and then the graph is over. The baby falls out, labor is over. But it's a straight line like this over time. But no woman ever experiences labor as a straight line, even if her labor is textbook perfect. Her inner journey is meandering. She's lost, she's found, she's up, she's down, she's close, she's far, she doesn't know where she is. It's not what she thought it would be. It's exactly what she thought it would be. People aren't the way she thought they would be. They're exactly the way she thought they would be, and it's constantly in motion. So to have a symbol that tells the truth is grounding for a woman. And to have a symbol that tells the medical objective truth but is not your truth is very disorienting in labor, and it causes, again, to activate that inner judge. I must not be doing this right.
I think it feels different from Olive in that I don't feel like right now it's that big. But this baby does like a lot of moving, a lot of rotating around. So it seems to really be, free floating still there. So most of it right now with Angie is just helping her to remain calm and help her to remain positive. Because I feel positive the baby will go into a good position.
The blood pressure. I feel like this baby's really moving.
I'm always excited when I get to turn a baby. And Angie's baby was really reactive and it was very easy to turn. Some babies aren't that simple. They don't always react so well. But the other thing is that I found that it's technically you should tell the mom I'm planning to move the baby, but on the other hand, I have found if I have done that and they get keyed up and they're tense, that tenses the baby, it tenses up the muscles, and I don't have as much success. So I just kind of wanted to quietly and gently turn baby and then listen to the baby and make sure everything was all right.
I'm at Samanda's house. She's hosting a blessing wave for me.
This is kind of casual, but it's an opportunity for us to share as friends and as mothers and grandmothers and whatever role you might have within Angie's life, thoughts for her in her journey. And so what we'll do is most of you have a bead and most of you have written a little note or a blessing for Angie. And so if you do feel moved to share, and you can share what's on your paper or something different, or what's on your paper and you can elaborate. Angie shared with me that, she's very curious what being a mom of 2 is going to be like. So for any of you who have already made that journey into motherhood of more than one child, and you have any suggestions for her, please share them. Me too, while you're at it. And then you can give your bead to Jessica. And what Jessica's going to do is to make a bracelet for Angie, and then she can wear that, throughout her pregnancy, or she can wear that while she's in labor if she doesn't mind something touching her skin, and or she can just have it there to look at. But to know that when she's in labor, the circle that we have here is with her, and that the power and the love of all of us women will be with her in the coming weeks, as well as while she's in labor, and then those moments after she's in labor.
And I remember when I was pregnant with my first, I was so nervous. And someone said, look around at everyone you see. They all got out. And I thought, you know what? They all got out one way or the other.
I chose blue because my husband Bob, her father, came home and he was saying that the midwife had to change the baby again, move the head down. And I said, that's a boy. He is headstrong. If it's a girl, well, she'll be a headstrong girl.
Her and I are from a generation before all the rest of you. And I, as a woman, I am very proud of all of you and how, you might think the same thing. I have learned so much about having a baby, and you guys question everything. And I'm proud of you, and I'm glad that you are the next generation of mothers.
I just took the moment to look at each of them and see the joy in their faces and how much fun they were having throwing the dough, and we were singing our dough song. We make the dough, we throw the dough. And they were just having so much fun together, and I just looked them in the eyes and felt that connection and remembered, I'm home here. I have chosen this so I can have these wonderful moments with my children, and that just felt good. And to see them having that relationship between the two of them that's completely separate from me, that I have no control over, that burgeoning friendship, the way Truman takes care of his brother, and the way they just interact and have fun together, that's completely separate from me. It's just so wonderful. And I've joked that Truman chose me as a mom, but Isaiah chose Truman as a brother, and just forget us, because he just connects with him so well.
I think, of course you don't plant the same flower a second time. I think of it kind of like companion planting, so that, they're going to be so different. And yet they're going to strengthen each other, and they're going to strengthen you. And, as you care for them, and you just are so thrilled with these beautiful children. But just the joy that they bring to you and to others and to each other. I'm just so excited for you guys.
Jessica picked out all the beads, right? Is that what yours? I'm going to pick this one because then it will reflect other colors of those people who couldn't be here tonight.
Childbirth classes shouldn't be 6 weeks or a weekend or a day, which is what they're becoming. They're whittled down to now a day. I've even heard some childbirth classes are only 2 hours long. They should be year-long classes. From the time you get pregnant, carrying you all the way through and for months afterwards, so that you're integrating this whole experience with support from someone who's been down that road before you.
Most of the time what you're doing in a labor is observing. You have to use your powers of observation to know where mom is at, so you can do as little intervention as possible. I like to think of being a minimalist but yet supportive. So you've got to balance those two roles. Minimal interference, but yet very supportive of mother. Know when to step in and do intervention. If things are going on at the same pace and the mother, is going to be getting tired, you have to know when is the appropriate time to step in and say, I think it'd be best to be able to make this type of change in position or do this particular activity so we can have labor progress on. I don't want to see the mother get stuck and go on for hours and hours and hours without progress, because she's going to get wore out. And then at the end, we're not going to have the strength at the end to be able to push the baby out, which sometimes can be an unknown amount of time how long you're going to push. So you want to make sure you have that time. You want to make sure that the mother has the strength and ability to cope at the end when she's going to need a lot of energy at that time. So it's a fine balance of knowing families and also what they would like to do with their labors too. We always have to balance those things out, along with, how much intervention are they asking for? Because it's not just me the birth is about the family and what they're looking for. And they're asking me to be there to be able to give them security and safety and to provide that if there is a necessity for resuscitation or necessity to care for mother during a hemorrhage, that's why I'm there, to make sure I'm capable of those things that they wouldn't have the basic knowledge for or preparation for.
You can come see me after dinner. I disrupt you.
Mommy's making you a plate.
In trouble.
I'm making olives first.
I love you.
So they leash her in the backyard and she gets, that wire goes all around her little paws and she squeals out there and it's so sad.
Well, that's what the stuff, it was caught around the bush, but.
There you go. Did Graham make you that skirt? Thanks.
4 days away from the due date, and Angie's feeling a little antsy, so I'm just following along with it. But we're cleaning up the pool. We've been using it outside, and it's going to be our birthing pool. At least Angie's going to, labor in it for a while. She used it quite a bit last time, so just want to make sure, obviously, it's very clean. And one less thing to do when she finally goes into labor here. So I want to make it as clean as possible and then get everything ready, move it inside, clean up the tarp, and hopefully don't make a mess inside like we did last time. So I think we'll be all right.
Today is June 22nd, which is the day that I predicted baby would come. Because I was born on the 22nd. Sean was born on the 22nd, so I was thinking maybe there was some synchronicity there. Day's not over. But I also just been feeling moved that we should start setting up the house to a degree. So that's what we're doing. We're on the first floor, which is where Joanne, our midwife, prefers that we labor, mainly if there is an emergency. So if time is of the essence, we don't have to navigate the stairs and things like that. I will use the stairs in labor to climb the steps and, just kind of move things along, but creating that asymmetricalness down here. But for the purposes of the birth, we're gonna create a living room, or we're gonna create a bedroom in our dining room.
That's Junebug's tub. It's a little tub, and Olive likes to try it out. It used to fit in that. So we got all kinds of fun supplies in here. Over here we have some a Gatorade type drink, electrolytes, paper towels. We have ultra soft Charmin. The ultra soft is very important. We don't normally get that type of toilet paper, but for this occasion we definitely need it. We have a scooper, a fish scooper. I'll just let your imagination guess what that's for. What else? We got towels. We have some mini pads, or some pads, some adult pads, some Chucks pads, plenty of towels,
large bath towels.
Yeah, it's mainly to drape over the couch, you know, wherever she needs to go, it's on the floor, just so, you know, you don't make a mess of things. But, yeah, we're going to get a kit from Joanne, which has a lot of the supplies that people might typically get themselves, but it's just a lot easier just to get it all from her. She just puts together.
She has some herbs and homeopathics that she provides. She provides the cord clamps.
It's nice to have plastic down on the sheets just because once the baby's born and you can just pull the sheets off and then the soil sheets obviously and pull the plastic off and then you have a nice set of sheets and you can just lay down and relax and just hang out and bond. So that's one last thing you have to do in the end. And hopefully we won't lose our flashlight before then.
Right over there. So we're at 43.
I want to push that back.
There you go. That's for you. Let me have some more oil, Olive. Can you find out? I know I hear a baby, but I'm looking for the really good sound of the baby. Thank you. So we're going to just kind of put some all over Mom's tummy here. All right. Put that back in for me, please. Thank you. That was it. And otherwise, I think baby looks good, sounds good. I mean, I'm getting lots and lots of movements. The bottom is right over here, all over there. The baby's great. Okay. We have to readjust our thinking about dates because baby's giving us a sign that its dates are not with ours.
Right. Okay.
There is no guarantee on dates.
No, I know.
And when to say baby. Obviously. All right.
You can offer a money back guarantee.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Dates are a really hard thing. Oh, so, but just from everything that's happening,
right?
It's just logical.
It is. I agree.
To conclude.
Yeah.
So we gotta just kind of give it up. The other, we obviously went way past, so we've given it up. We focus on something else, and really the whole focus is really on the baby.
Right.
And that the baby's doing well, and it does move down, it does move up, and this is just really, really common with babies.
since the light hath burst upon mine eyes, and I see thy face. My sleep is gone. My sleep is gone. I heard thee call me in the stillness of night, when all was in deep slumber. My sleep is gone. My sleep is
It's always a joy to be able to assist somebody with their succeeding children. The benefit it gives for the parents and myself is that I know how that other child, what the outcome was. So knowing for Angie that we worked hard for Olive's shoulders after having a 10-pound, 10-plus baby there, knowing that we are expecting another big baby and probably an even bigger baby, then that has to be a part of the decision-making factors in when to transport. Since we were halted or stuck at a point of progress, in particular there was a persistent lip, anterior, a little on the sides, trying different positions, various things. It wasn't going away, giving enough time of those things. Those are all important. Those are some of the warning signs along with that history of Olive's delivery that's telling me, I think we're going to be needing more than what I can provide. And the bottom line that I tell my parents is, home birth is not do or die. That's not what we're looking for, is just to have a birth no matter what the outcome. Our reason for having me in the first place is that I can say, it's time to go in. That's what my responsibility is. And that's what I had to say, because I want a good outcome. I want a live baby. I want a healthy mother. That's really what the bottom line is with any delivery, whether it's occurring at home or in the hospital.
Pregnancy and birth outcomes are influenced by a variety of factors, and that they cannot be, the outcome cannot be determined by planning, which is unnerving to a lot of people. Because one of the most profound things about labor and why it's a rite of passage is that you are literally entering into the unknown. You are buck naked in front of God when you give birth, literally. You are not in control, if ever you weren't. And this is unnerving to people. So we come up with birth plans and stylized breathing and all kinds of stuff. When really, if we were to allow ourselves to be taken by this force of life, that's when you get to experience whether your birth is normal or not. You get to experience birth as a rite of passage.
Mortal world.
It was about 6:30 a.m. when our midwife, who was laying across the floor trying to move the cervical lip during a push or contraction, expressed that she had 3 concerns about the baby. Daddy and I exchanged very little verbal communication. I think we both felt this is precisely why we have her as our care provider.
Blow Van a kiss. Good job. Blow Mommy a kiss. We'll come back in a little bit, okay?
That's big.
11, 13. 11, 13. Did it go off?
What was that, 11, 13?
It went off.
The sound was way off. Well, too bad.
What was that? 11, 13. 11, 13.
11 pounds and 13 ounces.
So it's 11. It's a blanket from the warmer. And there's another one up here.
There's a reason why it was.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Isn't he beautiful? Yeah, he has a penis.
Latanya. Make her parent.
Yeah. That's pretty big. We got such good care here.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
He looks a lot like my family.
He looks like you guys.
Like my side of the family. Just some of the facial and the hairline.
Giving up that hope, the desire to have the home birth that's always hard, but at other times those decisions are a little bit easier because we're seeing that there's a possible complication where we're going to need more. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to make sure that that baby was going to be safe when he came. So I felt that it would be possible that I would not be able to successfully get him to complete the dilation, or that maybe he would be so big that I would have serious complications for the baby in getting him out, and perhaps with resuscitation, and we just would need more. So that would require us to be in the hospital to have that.
Sean and my sister are holding my thighs back, and I'm tucking my chin, and so I'm pushing in that position, and so I push the head out, and I feel like everybody's yelling at me, but apparently, according to my sister, you guys are giving me encouragement.
Yeah, we were yelling at you a little later on.
Yeah. So anyhow, I pushed the baby's head out, and then this all happened within. I did hip swings for 20 minutes, so I'm thinking this all happened within a half hour of that doctor walking out after talking about a cesarean.
I can always say I would have done things different, but in the end, we were happy with what we had. We had the baby come. Yes, she had to endure the episiotomy and have stitches and things. The baby was resuscitated. That was good. But on the other hand, looking at the good thing about this hospital, after the resuscitation, he wasn't rushed off to the NICU. He was given over to Angie. And that was fantastic to be able to be there. And even for me to be able to touch the baby, they didn't prevent me from going over and talking to him and calming him down, or for Dad or anybody. So I thought that was a really good outcome. It was a good choice to go in because of how serious the shoulder dystocia did turn out to be.
None of the maneuvers that they teach in medical school for shoulder dystocia were working in that position. So I went to hands and knees. Had I been on an epidural, no way could I have went to hands and knees, even with other people's help. So that was also in my favor. So I went to hands and knees. Heartbeat's still good. Went to hands and knees, and this is when everybody's yelling at me to push.
Well, his head was out.
His head was out.
He'd been in that position for a while, and that's when we were yelling at you because he needed to come out.
Yeah. There was 5 minutes between his head and his shoulders. So the doctor who helped turn the head earlier, she called the head attending doctor. She came in, and she cut an episiotomy, and that apparently was cut so she could get in there to maneuver to get the shoulder loosened. And so the hand was delivered, and then the arm, and then the shoulders were twisted and the rest of the body.
The one time to do an episiotomy is when you have to get your hands in there. To do it automatically, dystocia isn't a soft tissue problem, so cutting an episiotomy, it's because the shoulders are hung up behind the pubic bone. So to just cut an episiotomy because, oh dear, it's a shoulder dystocia, so we cut an episiotomy, doesn't make any, and there's research that shows that it's not a helpful thing to do. But if you have to get your hands in there and you need to make more room, that's the time to do it.
But when we were at the hospital, somebody asked what his name was, because on all his early records there, it just says Baby Mira. And Olive said his name's Van. And so we're like, all right, well then, she gets naming rights.
The reason we did that was because with Olive, when she was born, we had picked out a different name than Olive. So and then we kept looking at her and we're like, no. We're going to name her Maud. We're like, that Maud is not her name. So we just sat there, and then we said, well, we'll just wait. And the next day we went back to our original name, which was Olive, and I can't imagine her being anything else. So
no,
we didn't want to rush into a name. So here we are.
Yeah.
Here's Van.